You mean he's in the pub?
No, sir. He's on the case.
All right. Good night, then, Sergeant.
Night, sir.
Thank you. It was a lovely evening.
Thank you. Perhaps,
Well, you've got my number. Good night.
Morning, Lewis. How are you getting on with the traffic spot checks?
Oh, a bit like cycling to Pluto, sir, to be honest. I've picked up a few, said they were on their way out to Whiteham.
But not Myton?
No.
Hardly progress, is it? Well, I won't hold you up any further. I suppose the South African embassy slipped your mind, did it?
No. I was on to them first thing, actually. They're going to get back to me. Where will you be if anything comes through?
Blenheim, why don't you meet me in Woodstock for lunch? You can appraise me of any developments then. Granted that Mr. Daly should have been at Lonsdale, Mr. Williams, would he normally have been here on a normal day at 10 o'clock?
No. George had a fancy for some bit of stuff down the garage he uses. Well, he'd stop off there on his way in, give her a bit of chat, like. We wouldn't see him here before 11 o'clock most days.
So that morning, he was early. Did you see this man here at all that day?
No, I don't remember seeing him on the grounds now.
Would you have noticed him at all if he had been here?
But he ain't staff, he ain't tenant. He'd have stuck out like a sore thumb.
Why is that?
Well, we don't open to the public till 11.
Morning, sir. Sorry to bother you. Do you know where I can get a hold of the rest of those Woodstock Road stop checks from the week of the 24th?
Place for everything, Sergeant.
Thanks.
This isn't white man's work.
Well, someone's got to do it.
Well, you're better than this, though. Listen, I hear through the Bush Telegraph that my superintendency's gone ahead, regional crime. I could use a good inspector.
Oh, well, thanks very much for the offer.
Don't make any snap decisions about it. I know you have loyalties, and that's highly commendable that you owe it to yourself to consider it. I don't want to end your days a bitter old sweat, do you, Steve? I mean, think about it.
Oh,
good man. Good man.
There you go.
Bit cloudy.
Is it?
Didn't you notice?
No. Do you want me to change it for you?
No. No, it's just the bottom of the barrel, I expect. Check, though, will you, next time?
I'll be sure to.
How are you getting on with your traffic reports?
I reckon I've done about 10%.
You're not on piecework, Lewis.
Well, it is just me going through them.
I appreciate that, but there is some urgency. We are looking for a murderer.
Maybe I should be getting back then.
You haven't finished your drink.
Oh, I've missed enough lunches on this case. One more won't count.
But it's your round.
That was my round.
Well, if you're going to quibble.
You just lose interest, don't you? Once it's cracked, once the puzzle's solved, you just sit back and leave all the tidying up to me.
It's called a division of labour, Lewis. I provide the brains.
And I'm left saddled with the donkey work, aye.
Well, after the Lord Mayor's show.
Oh, thanks very much.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I'm a detective, but I leave the policing to you. It's what you're good at. The details.
Sorry, Chief Inspector, but so far all that's arrived looks to be right foot, shoulder blade and left tibia.
There's nothing you can tell me from that.
Beyond that she probably took a size 6 shoe, no. I'm afraid I'm stuck till anything else arrives.
But you'll let me know as soon as.
Of course.
Of course.
Martin, I'm sorry, I'm running a bit behind. Just give me 5 minutes to pick up my bag and powder my nose. I'll be right with you.
Oh, no need to dress up. It's only the trout. I understand congratulations are in order. All from a postcard. Shame I won't be around much longer for you to crow over.
Leaving us?
Oh. Onward and upward, Morse. Transfer to regional crime.
Congratulations.
Yeah, if it's all the same with you, I'd rather you didn't sign my leaving card. We never did like one another. You may fool strange, but I see exactly what you are. The worst kind of bloody amateur.
I just got the breaks.
Don't play the white man with me, Morse.
All right. You made mistakes. Once you had Parnell and he confessed, you stopped looking. If anyone made a fool of you, it was him, not me. Lewis, what are you doing here?
I've got something, sir. A car stopped on the Whiteham Road on the 25th, the day after Karen Anderson disappeared.
Myton?
Oh, no, sir. Not Myton.
This is a surprise.
They said at Lonsdale he'd gone home. Is he here?
Chief Inspector.
I think you might prefer to talk to us in Mrs. Osborne's absence, Doctor.
What? Morse, what is it? What's wrong?
Dr. Harding?
This is ridiculous. I'm staying where I am.
I have no secrets from Claire.
As you wish. Myton didn't drop you off in the town on the 24th, did he? You went to Whiteham Woods with him and Karen Anderson.
What? No.
Don't lie to me, Dr. Harding.
You were stopped and questioned by the police on the Whiteham Road the 25th, the day after.
I was just on the road on my way
You told them you were on your way to Whiteham Woods. Why did you go back there? To bury Karen Anderson?
I'd hardly tell him I was going there if that was my intention.
Why did you go back?
You can't prove I went there.
I can prove you were one of McBride's camera club.
I said you were cheap.
But would you prefer Sergeant Lewis to caution you? Then we can continue at the station.
That won't be necessary. Myton didn't give me a lift. I followed him in my own car. I took some photographs and then I left. Myton made it pretty clear he wanted to be alone with her.
And what did you do?
I drove home. When I got back, I realized I'd lost one of my camera lenses. It was too dark to go back and look for it then, so I went back the next day, which is when I was stopped by the police.
It's true, Morse. He did go back. I went with him.
There's no record of you being in the car, Mrs. Osborne.
Well, that's an oversight on the part of the policeman that stopped us.
No, I'm afraid not. You see, if you had been in the car, and Dr. Harding would never have been stopped. We were only stopping men travelling alone.
Did you also lie about being with Dr. Harding on the morning George Daly was shot, Mrs. Osborne?
We went shopping.
Where? Which shops exactly? What did you buy? Did you pay by cash or credit card?
Stop it.
Where were you, Dr. Harding?
Where he's been every Tuesday since January. With her. At the Marlborough Hotel on the Woodstock Road.
Lynn.
It's all right. There had to be someone. If it hadn't been you, then it would have been a stranger. Poor Alan.
Well?
You'll find us in the register as Mr. and Mrs. Nash.
Well, I'm glad to see you observed the social niceties of adultery.
Don't dare presume to judge us. Have you any idea?
I'd like you to leave my house, Chief Inspector. You have no further business here.
We will check.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Someone is always sorry. I want to know what time they booked in, booked out, if they had room service.
Right. Sergeant Lewis. Yeah, it's for you, sir. Dr. Hobson.
Morse. Can't you tell me now over the phone?
Bones have been pretty well scattered by animals, but we've been able to recover about 70% of the skeleton, as you can see. Pelvis and right femur have been found. Came in within the hour.
Do you know how she died?
It's not a she.
What?
It's a man.
It can't be.
Incontestable, I'm afraid. Mid-30s, Caucasian, about 5'6", slim built, brachycephalic and fair-haired.
How did he die?
Just take a look at the skull. Orbital ridges and forehead all but gone. That was never done by an animal. Someone bashed his face in. They also found a watch. It's been sent to forensic for examination, but I did hear that it was engraved JM. Does that mean anything to you?
Them bones, gonna walk around. Them bones, gonna walk around.
Your main objection, if I recall, to Parnell being responsible for Karen Anderson's murder was the fact that she was single. No boyfriend.
But Myton wasn't her boyfriend, sir. Not in the proper sense.
But Parnell didn't have proper sense, though, did he? The way the Chief Constable reads it, and I can't say I disagree with him, is that Parnell comes upon them, the girl in the altogether most like, and the fella. And, well, we can't rule out any funny business, can we?
No.
I'm sorry, but all you've done is go round the world to prove Johnson was right in the first place. Parnell murdered Karen Anderson.
If that's so, sir, who killed George Daly?
That's no longer your problem. I'm reassigning the investigation to Johnson.
Johnson?
Chief Constable's orders. It's not the way I would have wanted it, but there it is. You're off the case.
This can wait, sir, surely. He has just buried his father, for God's sake.
Well, I think there's enough bloody grass grown, Sergeant Lewis, don't you? God almighty. You've got a bloody nerve.
Came to offer my condolences, that's all.
This isn't your investigation anymore. Let's have him, Sergeant. Just do it, man.
Him. Philip.
Murder isn't about postcards and tarts in ivory towers, Morse. It's about inadequate, stupid people doing inadequate, stupid things. You're too much of a snob to see it.
I lack your flair for the grotesque, certainly. Arresting at his father's wake.
Well, if you'd have done your homework, you'd have known the boy had form.
A bit of juvenile car crime.
Robbery think he was involved in rolling over 2 farmhouses out at Cowley. The .243 rifle was stolen from one of them. Get a picture?
You like you want us to do our job, or do you want to be taken in for breach of the peace?
Do what?
Lewis?
Philip!
Excuse me.
Hey!
It's all right, Mum.
Let's take it, Philip, away.
I'll be all right. I'll come with you.
No, you stay here. I'll be all right.
Nothing, Philip.
Philip! Philip! What's going on? Where are you taking him in?
They think he shot his father. It's not true, I know. But for me to prove that, I need your help.
He collected everything. About the murders. He was obsessed by it. By that girl whose bag he found. He had pictures.
Of Karen Anderson?
Off of her film. Didn't think I knew, but I did. Out in the woods in her birthday suit.
You should have given them to me with the rest.
Yeah, and let the whole world know he'd rather look at some little scrubber than his wife.
Could I see them?
I really did burn them this time. I loved him, you know, once. When we were married, he was a catch. I wasn't going to do any better. All the girls fancied him rotten, and George, he fancied them right back. He didn't keep it to just fancying them, did he? You put up with some things, don't you? Close your eyes to it. But...
Mrs. Daly, I need to try and trace his movements over the last few days before the shooting. Can you remember if he did anything out of the ordinary? Any break in his routine?
No. The day you come, he went off to Blenheim for work in the morning, came home, you came round, then he went out again.
Where did he go?
Ah, Lewis, I wondered... Sorry, sir. DCI Johnson's waiting to resume the interview.
It's important.
Well? Were there any petrol receipts found on George Daly's body or in the van?
Petrol receipts?
He could claim back his petrol.
Everything was cleared out of his van, bagged and tagged. What do you want his receipts for?
I want to find out which garage he used.
Well, where he bought his petrol's academic, surely. We've got Philip down in the interview room, sir.
According to Mrs. Daly, her husband went out the night before he was shot to fill up the van.
Well, so?
The gatekeeper of Blenheim says he used to get petrol on his way to work in the morning at the same garage. There was some cashier he used to flirt with, apparently.
So you don't think he went out to the garage that evening? Is that what you said?
He filled up in the morning. There was no need to go out again in the evening.
So where do you think he went?
I think he went to Whiteham Woods.
White? God's sake, man!
She's still out there, Lewis. We found Mighton, but not the girl.
There's no one out there but Mr. and Mrs. Michaels, and why the hell should Daly want to see them?
He didn't go to meet them.
Well, who then?
Who was the last person to see Mighton and Karen Anderson alive in Whiteham Woods?
Harding? Oh, no. I'm sorry, sir. I've gone along with this. But, you know, first Daly's the murderer, then he shows up dead. Then it was Mighton, now Harding. You know, enough's enough.
Daly knew Harding. Now, if Harding had dumped the bag at Blenheim and Daly saw him do
You won't have it that Johnson and me got it right first time, will you? It was Parnell killed Mighton and the girl.
Did Daly have any petrol receipts?
You're no longer involved in this investigation, sir.
You got it wrong. You're about to get it wrong again.
I got it right. That's what you can't stomach. This was never about Johnson. This is about you and me.
You and me?
Yes. I proved myself a decent detective, but you're such a bloody arrogant, self-centered bastard. You'd rather die than ever admit it.
I once thought you'd make a decent detective, Lewis. Given the right encouragement. But it seems you have neither the wit nor the imagination. In that respect, you and Johnson are a well-matched pair.
Well, perhaps it's just as well I'm leaving then, isn't it?
What?
Johnson's offered me a place in his regional crime squad. I've accepted. It means rank now. I don't want to end me days as a bitter old sweat DS.
Well, as you say, perhaps it's time to go. Congratulations. But be careful what you wish for.
How's that?
There's always a price to pay, Lewis. Always. When you and Johnson are snugly installed at regional crime, you might ponder how, when he'd been 6 foot under since July, Mighton was able to pay off his bills in August.